Hey, good to see you for another week. Sometimes I'm guilty of treating parts of my life like they're the holy, godly, important parts, and other parts as my own parts. Like this time when we all gather together in our micro churches. This is obviously a God time for me. But then I can think of evenings as my time to relax and unwind. I can be guilty of separating the sacred from the secular. It's really just me limiting God to a box of my life. I remember a season in college when I was really intentional about having a daily time where I would read my Bible, pray, journal. I would spend no less than 30 minutes in the morning with Jesus. Feeling pretty darn good about myself and how great of a Christian I was until Jesus convicted me that what I was doing was leaving him in my 30-minute box. Wow, look how amazing Jens is. 30 minutes every day. But I was leaving him out of 23 and a half hours of class, friends, dinner, and life. God didn't want my 30 minutes. He's not interested in a 2-hour devotion time. He wants our whole lives. He wants to guide, empower, help, and lead every part of our whole lives. He wants us to change our perspective on why we go to work, why we go to school, why we call a friend, even why we read our Bibles. Jesus should be in every part of our days. Take a look at a day in the life of Jesus in Mark 1, 21 through 34. He goes to a Jewish synagogue to teach, gets interrupted, drives a demon out of the guy, goes to his friend Simon's house for lunch, but Simon's mother-in-law is sick, so he heals her. Finally, he gets his me time that evening after a full day. No, wait. People hear about him and start flooding the house with sick and tormented people for him to help. It just doesn't end for him. It's almost like all of Jesus' life was lived on mission. Now, don't get me wrong. Next week, we're going to look at the intentional rest and time Jesus spends with his Father. Those are necessary, but even those times seem to be on mission. Remember, one of the themes of Mark is discipleship. And we see Jesus continually taking his companions with him as he lived the gospel out. I can only imagine what it would have been like to sit in that synagogue and witness Jesus casting a demon out of some dude. In fact, I find about 7 times that Jesus drove demons out of people. You can read about them for yourself this week if you would like. There's this one that we're reading about today in the Capernaum synagogue. There's delivering a blind and mute man. There's delivering a demon-possessed man who lived in the tombs in the region of Gerasene. There's delivering a demon-possessed man who couldn't speak. There's delivering a little girl who was possessed by an evil spirit. There was a boy who he delivered. And then there's Mary Magdalene, who Jesus delivered as well. Now, I get that Jesus is Jesus and does these sorts of things. What really challenges my life and my faith is Mark 6:7, where Jesus called his 12 disciples together and began sending them out 2 by 2, giving them authority to cast out evil spirits. Jesus did it, and Jesus empowered his disciples to do the same. I look at the rest of Jesus' day from Mark 1, 21 through 34 and think of my days. I'm not Jesus, but I am called to see everything in my day the way that he wants me to. The interruptions, like the guy in the synagogue, the annoyances, like the sick mother-in-law, the people who won't let me relax, I need to see them the way Jesus sees them. I need to let Jesus out of my good Christian box and into every single area of my life. Forgive me, Jesus, for trying to do Christianity without you. How do you keep Jesus at the center of your whole life? What strategies have worked for you? Maybe sharing some of those things with your microchurch might encourage them to try them out. And maybe you can steal something from someone else. Our relationship with Jesus, our life surrendered to him, is not a bunch of strategies, but we can learn and grow from one another. And granted, Jesus works in different people in different ways, and what works for one of the people in your microchurch might not work for you and vice versa, but I would encourage you to ask Jesus if there's something that he wants you to try. What in your week can be different to help your life be centered on Jesus in every single part of every single thing you do.